if you play Pokemon TCG Pocket, you know that is a new card that has kind of almost changed a good chunk of the meta. In part of the new promo set we got the brand new Jigglypuff that for 1 energy can put anything to sleep for its attack. Now that sounds a touch boring and it sounds a little bit maybe underwhelming, but it's really, really good. I think it single-handedly is enough to actually change and stop a lot of the meta decks sometimes. Now, obviously sometimes, because coin flips are never reliable, but it does give you a chance to actually go ahead and take out some of the best and most overpowered decks just with a little bit of luck. So today I'm going to show you guys some of the decks you can put together and some of the ways you can best utilize having a Jigglypuff in your deck, and how it can really, really help you bring some other cards that maybe are sometimes a little bit hard to get the most out of, and give it the best chance it can to really do its thing. So if you go on to find this video helpful or enjoyable, please do leave a like on it. It supports me and Jordan out a whole bunch. Obviously, make sure you hit the sub button. We're on our way to 100 subs. It'd be amazing if we could hit that very, very soon. Without further ado, let's look at this Jigglypuff card. So if you haven't already unlocked yourself the Jigglypuff card, this is the one that we're talking about. This is the one that we're really looking to obtain and do the best with, and it is, again, it's pretty easy to get. If you haven't been completing the Venusaur stuff, make sure you go ahead and complete the Venusaur stuff. Super quick thing, this isn't like a whole tutorial on it. There are plenty of tutorials on how best to use your energy and stuff for the tutorial stuff, but just complete the lower levels as quick as you can and try and do them in as few energy as possible. So try and like make sure that you get that done using as few energy as possible, because those lower levels don't guarantee you a pack, whereas I'm fairly sure the final one does guarantee you a pack every single time. Just means you get the best chance possible to get the pack every single time, and you want to make sure you get yourself a couple of these Jigglypuffs. So as you said, or as I said it before, you need to have 1 energy on this guy and he will put your opponent guaranteed to sleep. And if people don't know what sleep does, the only way you can remove sleep at the end of your turn and at the end of their turn, get a chance to flip a coin. If they land heads, the Pokemon is awake. If they land tails, the Pokemon is asleep. If they're asleep, they cannot do anything. They cannot attack, they cannot retreat, they physically cannot do anything. The only way to get out of that is to evolve the Pokemon, because then that wakes them up. So if you put something to sleep that's a basic Pokemon or a stage 1 Pokemon and it can evolve into a stage 1 or stage 2, they do have a chance of using that as well to wake them up. But otherwise, they stay asleep if they land on tails, and it basically gives you a free turn without being hit or without anything coming your way. And like I said, they cannot retreat either. Even if they use like an X speed or whatever to make it a free retreat, they cannot take that Pokemon out of the active spot while it is asleep. So it's very, very good and very, very effective. And if you pair this with its evolution, the Wigglytuff EX, you actually get yourself a really, really good combo, in the fact that for 3 energy, you can do the same thing, put the active Pokemon to sleep and deal 80 damage, which is a really, really good combo. It's a really nice little pairing between the two of them, because combined, that can be super, super effective and super, super good at actually just whittling down really big, annoying opponents. I've used a Wigglytuff and Jigglypuff pair in a couple of little decks that I've sort of just been messing around with and having a little bit of fun with. And I was able to single-handedly, without actually using the other Pokemon in my deck, take out a Mewtwo deck, take out a Charizard deck, take out a Pikachu deck. Like, it has been working. Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't win every single battle. I'm not like the best battler ever, but you get yourself a good chunk of wins if you get yourself a little bit lucky with these. Because coin flips can be a little bit lucky, but putting them to sleep is a really, really good and viable method. Now, I'll show you guys a couple of decks that I've sort of messed around with, and we'll try 1 or 2 of these maybe today, just so you guys can have a little gander at them. I haven't named them all because, as you can see, sometimes I'm just messing around with seeing if it works. This one, not overly reliable, and I do want to make a bit of a mix of this. I've actually gone with a double sleep deck, in the fact that I've also got Vileplume in there, who's very, very similar to Wigglytuff, but it's obviously a stage 2 evolution, so you do have to evolve twice. I would say the main differences between the two is that extra stage of evolution. They have the exact same health and do the exact same attack, 80 damage, and put the active opponent to sleep. So that's exactly the same. In regards to weaknesses, I come up against a lot more fire decks than I do fighting decks. So more often than not, Vileplume has a higher chance of having something super effective attack it. I fight a lot more Moltres and Charizard decks than I do Machamp and Marowak decks, I'll put it that way. I know there is that extra stage of evolution. One thing that I do quite like, and actually I do find slightly beneficial, is the fact that you do get to sort of have a bit of a boost in between. So the Oddish going into the Gloom means that I go up to 80 damage, 80 HP, sorry, and actually there is an in-between ability to use an attack as well. If I go from Jigglypuff to Wigglytuff from turn 1 to turn 3, it means that middle time, I'm only going to have 2 energy on it, so that as soon as I make it a Wigglytuff, I can't attack, or I have to wait an extra turn anyway to then be able to evolve it and then do an attack. So there is a slight downside to that, and that is kind of where the Oddish to Gloom kind of helps, because you have a guaranteed you'll have that extra energy every single turn. So that can be slightly viable and slightly helpful. But that kind of is personal preference. I would say on the majority, the Jigglypuff Wigglytuff is more overpowered because you can put to sleep in both stages, whereas you have to have a Vileplume to put to sleep. And then I put the Butterfree line in for a bit of healing. I've only played this deck twice. I got 1 win, and the person I played against evidently didn't have a very good hand because they didn't really summon too much. And then the one I lost pretty comfortably. I'll keep it real with you. So that one's a bit of a fun deck, but doesn't really... I'm not going to commit to saying it fully works. What I think is a really effective deck is this Dratini Dragonite line deck. It's very good. The thing I will say with this, it can be a touch hit or miss. I would love to have another Wigglytuff. It is then a lot of Pokemon. Like you're looking at then having 11 Pokemon in this deck, which I think is a lot. I mean, 10 is already quite a few. I've gone double Jigglypuff just because it allows for me to have a higher chance of drawing into the Jigglypuff and putting things to sleep, because Dragonite's a great Pokemon. It's sheer chaos, 200 damage split up among 4 attacks randomly. Can be so good. It can be devastating for an opponent. It can literally win you games just by how the spread hits, you know. And the main issue you often get with Dragonite is you need to get 4 energy onto the Pokemon, and that can sometimes take a little while. Sleep literally allows you to stall that out. It gives you such a good chance of not falling behind while the opponent is maybe setting things up or would be doing big damage to you. You get a couple of turns of sleep where they stay asleep, and you are all of a sudden you gain that upper footing, and you've got a really good chance to then cause them a lot of problems with whatever you managed to bring to the table. So I do find it quite good. Kangaskhan and Snorlax are 2 really good Pokemon at helping you store things out as well. Decent amount of health. Snorlax, obviously, real good health for a basic Pokemon that isn't an EX. So if they do knock it out, they just get themselves to 1 point. If you just throw it out there to go, right, I just need you to sit out there to stall while I get my Wigglytuff built up, or while I get my Dragonite built up, or whatever, they're going to get themselves a point, but it gives you a good chance to sort of stack everything at the back without sadly doing too much damage output, because it's a big expensive retreat and it's a big expensive amount of energy to put on to do an attack, which is why Kangaskhan is a really good alternative as well. 100 health for 1 energy can do anywhere between 0, sadly, 30 and 60 damage, so it can be a good little damage output while you're also setting up at only the cost of 1 energy. And then of course just like the standard supporters and item combo there as well. So the Dratini deck's a really good one. My personal favorite is the Alakazam deck. I really like this deck. It's really fun to use, and Alakazam hits like a truck. Again, in an ideal world, I'd love to have a second Wigglytuff here, but I do sadly only have the 1 Wigglytuff EX, and I don't have anywhere near enough pack points to be able to make and craft another one. Plus, I need to finish off that 151. I'm literally Vaporeon and Jolteon away from being able to unlock that special Mew card. So that's my vibe. That's what I'm trying to do. Again, pretty standard in the supporter and item combo, but exactly like I just said with the previous deck, you get the Jigglypuff out there, or the Wigglytuff out there, or the Snorlax if you just need to stall, and you just build your Alakazam up and up and up. What I probably will do at some point is I'll take out the Jinx, and I'll take out the Snorlax, and I'll throw in another Alakazam line, just because I think that would be maybe slightly smarter, a smarter way of doing it. I'll use just the Jigglypuffs to stall, and I'll just try and run 2 Alakazam lines. I think that's maybe a smarter way of doing it. It takes me up to 9 mons, 10 if I then add another Wigglytuff, which jury's out as to whether I will. But that would be, I think, the slightly more ideal way of running this deck. But what we'll do, this is probably my favorite deck of the Wigglytuff stuff. I'm gonna go try it out. Hopefully, I'll show you how it works. Just for going into it, I said I wanted to run the 2 sets of Alakazam, so that's what I'm gonna do. I've put in 2 sets of Alakazam. Jigglypuff is our only like stall Pokemon. So we kind of have to hope that when we start off at the beginning and it gives us a basic mon to run, that we get ourselves a Jigglypuff out the gate. If it gives us an Abra, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But if it gives us a Jigglypuff to start, then we should be good. And then it's just a matter of building up an Alakazam in the background while hopefully we put things to sleep. Again, the ideal for this would be a second Wigglytuff EX, which I don't have yet. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't got the pat points to make that work. But we do start with an Abra. What did I just say? Oh no, it's okay. We have a Pokeball. Ideal draw next turn is a Professor's Research. The Pokeball gives us a Jigglypuff, and the Professor's Research gives us an X-Speed. That's the ideal turn. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. A Jinx and a Mewtwo. Okay, so he's running a Mewtwo deck. Probably going to have a Ralts line in there somewhere. That's okay. We do get the X-Speed. Okay, so this needs to be a Jigglypuff, not the other Abra. Okay, so we've turned a bad situation into a decent one here. We actually could get away with this. That's fine. I don't need the X-Speed yet. I don't need to. A, you can't hit me, and B, I can't put energy on yet, so it would be pointless. Okay. I think the smart play is I put the energy on Jigglypuff next turn. Okay, we've got Alakazam as well. Okay, we're drawing okay here now. We started bad, but we're drawing okay. I stay like this because he only does 30 damage to Abra. He physically can't kill Abra next turn because I'm not putting energy on him yet. Okay, this is the clever way of playing this. Another potion would be great now, actually, because then I can heal stall a little bit. That would be the ideal. It's going to hit me for 30. It's really interesting that you actually set up the Jinx instead of like just setting up the Mewtwo in the background. Okay, we draw a second Alakazam. Not ideal, but that's okay. We put our second energy onto Jigglypuff. We heal Abra up to 50. So he can't die next turn. And I'm not going to put the Wigglytuff out yet. Oh, no, because if he red cards me... Yeah, I'm going to do it. Because if he'd red carded me, that would have sucked. But, again, I don't retreat yet because he hits Wigglytuff for a lot more damage than he hits Abra. Oh, is he actually running a Ralts? If he's not running a Gardevoir set, that's a bold move. Unless this is him trying to draw into a Ralts now. We'll find out. Yeah, I was going to say, it would be a really odd strat to not run a Ralts with a Mewtwo line, in my opinion. We do need a Kadabra. We need Kadabra yesterday. We have the Alakazam. There's the Kadabra. Okay, great. So, we X-Speed. We retreat and bring out Wigglytuff. Obviously, our eventual Alakazam is going to have some damage on it, which does suck, but it's okay. I'll get over it. And actually, I was gonna Sabrina, but actually taking out the Jinx while it's got this extra damage on it, because it will do 70 damage to me if he brings it out, which is a 2-co for Wigglytuff. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll take out the Jinx. That's fine. Because otherwise, I think he'd have brought out his non-EX Mewtwo, which still would be a good thing to kill, but I think is less beneficial to him at this point than an already set up Jinx. Is my thought. So Mewtwo EX comes out. He's going to hit me for 50 next turn. I can kill him in 2, and if he stays asleep during it, then obviously we win. If he Sabrina's me, that would suck. I'll keep it real with you. That's a shame. That's a shame. He's going to get a point, and there's nothing I can do about it. But my Wigglytuff stays alive. And unless he has a Gardevoir, can't kill me next turn. So there's that. So there is that. So we Wigglytuff. I could Sabrina him here. We can get into... Oh, the other Abra will be great. It's going to give me Jigglypuff, though. Because I know what this game does to me. That's fine. Do I Sabrina here? Because if he gets Gardevoir next turn, we're in trouble. But if I Sabrina him and he sends out the other Mewtwo, he still gets Mewtwo EX to 4. The only play I've got here is putting him to sleep and hoping he stays asleep. If he stays asleep this turn, we win. If he wakes up, we don't lose, but it becomes a lot more difficult to win. And we become more likely to lose. So I'm assuming he has Gardevoir in his hand, which is why I'm so like, this is a problem. Ralts down. Ooh. No Gardevoir. I lied. There's Gardevoir. You didn't need the Giovanni, to be fair, mate. You were going to kill me anyway, boss. Okay. Okay. This becomes a problem. This becomes a problem. Oh, wait. Oh, I'd already lost the point. I forgot that we'd already lost the point on that one. So we did get a loss on that one. Again, I'm honest, and I'll show you guys the losses. But you kind of see how it works and how the Jigglypuff is out there to stall while you build the Alakazam. We were unlucky that he obviously Sabrinaed out and my Kadabra was quite weak. It was a shame. It is what it is, though. I can't really complain too much because I'm relying on coin flips. It's kind of how it works. But I'll show you another game. Hopefully we can get a slightly better example of. This is a decent starting hand if we had an Abra. If I literally had an Abra, we're good to go. But we go second, which is obviously always preferable. I get to put his Dratini to sleep straight away. I'll be interested to see if he's running a Jigglypuff set with the Dratini. That would be really interesting to me. Let's find out together. No. Okay. Very fair. He's going Weezing. Probably got Koga in there. It's also a really, really good set. Really good deck. Yeah, we'll put his Dratini to sleep. That is the preferred thing for me right here. Is putting Dratini to sleep. Stays asleep. Doesn't really make a difference this first turn. That's fine. He can't do anything. Obviously, even if he's got Weezing. Oh, he can evolve. Yeah, I forgot that. What on me. I need Abra, though, please. I need Abra pretty, please. Okay. You know what? I'm actually not upset with him retreating. Let's use this energy. Do you know what I mean? It's got rid of his energy. We still don't have Abra on the draw yet. An Abra or a Wigglytuff at this point are both really, really helpful. Abra lets us start setting up in the back. Wigglytuff obviously lets us start doing some damage. So either of those would be nice. He's got Dragonite already in the back. This is why I wanted to put it to sleep and kind of stop it doing its thing. I forgot that evolving it healed it. I literally said it out loud at the start of the video. He stays asleep. Doesn't really make a difference for this turn, but that's okay. Pokeball. Please don't be the other Jigglypuff. Please. I've got two Abras in there. It's a 66% chance of being an Abra. Nice. That is honestly what we needed. And I'm so here for it. I'll do this thing again, just for the sake of doing this thing again. Please stay asleep. If you stay asleep this turn as well. Never mind. That's fine. I mean, I'm assuming he's not running Dark Energy in the deck. I'm assuming he's running Water and Electric. And he's not planning on attacking with the coughing. It's just there to get the poisons off when it becomes a Weezing. And obviously with Koga, you can retreat it for free, have it fully healed in your hand, all that vibe. So it's smart. It's a smart deck. It's a really, really smart deck. I really like it. I've only got one Weezing is my problem. Otherwise, I'd love to run this kind of deck. Okay, so the two different plays we'd have here is obviously keep setting up the Kadabra in the back so that we've got Alakazam ready to go next turn, or kill the coughing for 80 and start getting points on the board. And that's what we're going to do. Because next turn, he's going to send out the coughing. He's going to get an Electric Energy onto his Dragonite and be one turn away from starting to hit me with some Draco Meteors and a really good chance of finishing me off. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to Sabrina him, bring the Dragonite out, bring the Dragonite to a 2-hit KO, and start causing problems. He needs a Weezing really bad. If he hasn't drawn into a Weezing, he's not lost. I'm not going to go as far to say he's lost, but it's not ideal for him. I'm actually going to use the Pokeball and have another Pokemon down just to spread the Draco Meteor attack if he does wake up. Because in an ideal world, we keep Wigglytuff and or Alakazam with as much health as possible. So we Sabrina. It brings out the Dragonite. We hit it. We put it to sleep. If it stays asleep, he's in a world of trouble. If it wakes up, obviously, he's going to hit us for some big damage. But provided it splits in... Okay, so he stays asleep. So we should be good from here. We should be good from here. We have an Alakazam pretty much set up in the back. And he concedes, which is very fair because at that point, there's not a crazy much amount he could do. I think, again, he needed to draw into a Weezing, which he evidently didn't. But that just shows you how good the stalling can be. We didn't even have to use the Alakazam, but we had the threat of it on the bench. I do think having the 2 lines of it is preferable, because it just means you kind of draw into it a bit more. But yeah, really, really fun. I really, really like this deck. I'm gutted that I didn't get to win both games. But again, I'm about the honesty. I'd rather show you guys what happened rather than just, you know, not showing you legitimately sort of how it runs, how it plays. So Wigglytuff and Jigglypuff, great cards. Make sure you get yourself this card. Well, get yourself a couple of them, because they are so good. They're so helpful. Really will help you get some extra wins, and it just opens up loads of different decks. I saw somebody, I think his name's Godsley, really good content creator. Highly recommend watching some of his videos. There's a lot of like deck building stuff and things like that. I saw him run a Wigglytuff Melmetal deck. At no point did I think Melmetal was going to become at all vaguely viable, and I think he went on like a really good win streak with it. Got a bunch of really good wins. Highly recommend checking out Jigglypuff. Get it in your deck. If you've got a Wigglytuff EX or 2, get them in there as well. And then pick a mon that is a real fun setup mon. Alakazam is a really fun setup mon. It's so good against, you know, your Charizards, against your Pikachu. Well, maybe not against your Pikachus quite as much. It will still do good. It will still do 120 damage to Pikachu, so it will still take it out. But like against your Mewtwo's, against your Charizards, it will just run shop. It's such an underrated card. Huge damage for also only giving your opponent 1 point. For me, this is an EX level card that your opponent only gets 1 point for beating. So it's really worth trying to look at fitting that in. But yeah, get Jigglypuff in your decks. Try out this new meta. It's also just a lot of fun. But that's it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like on the video. Supports me, Jordan, the video, the channel, everything out a whole bunch. If you're new, hit the sub button. Again, we're on our way to 100. It'd be amazing to get there very soon. And if you want to see more TCG stuff, do let us know. I know we had comments in the last video that I am going to get to. Like I was saying, I've only got 1 Weezing and I need 2 for the deck, the dark type deck that I want to run and show you guys, because it needs a second Weezing. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. See you soon. Look after yourselves and wash your hands. Take care.